Welcome to Monetize Your Mind with your host, Bob Baer, creator of the More Power to Publish Monetize Your Mind workshop.
And welcome to Monetize Your Mind. I'm Pat Dewar. We have a great show tonight with Bob Baer and Michelle Prince. And Bob, I'm so glad you're bringing Michelle on. I know she's one of your secret weapons.
Thank you, Pat. I'm excited about it. Michelle, you have a real story to tell, and I'll ask you some questions, but I really want you to share with them how you got to where you're at. When I first met you, I knew you as a speaker.
Yes.
And you obviously love to speak, and you're great at it. You used to work with Zig Ziglar Corporation.
I did. In fact, I started my journey with Zig very early. My parents actually gifted me with a seminar ticket when I was 18. So I fell in love with personal development. I fell in love with inspiring and motivating and helping people. And so that launched a desire to work for Zig Ziglar. And so in my early 20s, I worked with Zig for about 3 or 4 years, and I was in sales for Zig. I was actually helping him to, continue with his career. But that passion was always in me to, help other people, to show other people what they can do to live a better life and help other people in the process.
Mm-hmm. Somewhere along the line, though, you've discovered that you had a passion for helping authors get their books written.
Yes, and it's funny how things transpire because it certainly wasn't something I planned. About 5 or 6 years ago, I felt that I had a book inside of me. Mm-hmm. And in fact, I had thought about it for so many years, but it wasn't something I wasn't ready to launch my book, if you will, or tell my story. And a couple of years ago when I decided to do it, I just wanted to share what I've been through, what the lessons that I learned. And I found that my story is not that different from other people. And I found that when you are just sharing who you are, that's when you can really help the most people. So I told my story, my ups and downs, my journeys. It was called Winning in Life Now, but it was all about how I used personal development to keep me through the tough times in life. And that launched this passion. If I can do it, you can do it. Anyone can do it. So before I knew it, I was helping people to show them, here's the process. How do you get the book out of your head? How do you know what to write about? And then how do you go through the whole publishing process? And it just evolved.
There's a lot of moving parts, aren't there?
There are so many moving parts, yes.
I think when people start writing a book, they really have no idea what all's involved. They don't know what they're getting into.
I had no idea. I mean, most of us, we know we have a story, but how do you even get it out of your head? That's actually more difficult than it sounds. And getting it on paper, and then how do you pull it all together and make it sound logical and make it sound, the way you want it to sound, the way you hear it, but you want it to read that way. And then going through all the details that you know so much about. It's quite a process. And I learned through, trial and error, my first book.
A mutual friend of ours, Howard Berg,
yes.
in talking about writer's block, said that normally a person is used to their mind and their thoughts expressing it through their mouths. And so when they're trying to use their mind and expressing it through their hands,
right.
they get blocked.
Absolutely. Or they start self-critiquing. They write a paragraph and then they look at it and they go, oh, that's terrible, throw it away. And so we're more, we criticize ourselves more, I think, when we try to express ourselves by writing. But if you can get past that point and really get it out there without judgment and just let the thoughts and the creativity flow, you can create a masterpiece.
Now, you were trained by and worked with Zig Ziglar, and did that period where you were studying self-improvement, that probably helped you a lot now in helping authors get past their blocks and helping them express themselves.
I was so young. I was in my early 20s, and I didn't realize how fortunate I really was at the time. But now looking back, my foundation of business advice, of relationships, of working with people, all came from Zig Ziglar and his corporation. So I learned at a really early age, how to help other people and really, make a difference. That was what at the Ziglar Corporation they always said, being a difference maker. And so it set the stage for me. Now, I went a different direction. I actually, even though working for Zig was my passion, I was at a point in my life where I wanted to make more money. I wanted to climb that corporate ladder, and I kind of got lured into the golden carrot of software and the .com boom around that time, and there was a lot of opportunities. So I went in a direction not in my passion, And I stayed there for about 12 years, and what it did for me is it brought me back to the realization that I wasn't doing what I was meant to do. And it was during that time that I felt like, you know what, I have a story to tell, and I want to write it. And even if my husband and kids are the only ones that ever read it, that's okay. But I've got to get the story out.
Was there a pivotal moment? Was there something that happened that just made you decide you had to do it?
Yeah, you know, it's an interesting thing. It was kind of that gut feeling, but I was traveling full time. I had 2 young kids, and I was just so busy, but not enjoying it. And I had this epiphany moment of, you know, I'm supposed to be helping people and making a difference, and I don't feel like I'm making a difference selling software. I'm sure I was to somebody, but not in the way I wanted to. And when I wrote the book, I had no intention, though, of building a business around it. But it evolved because I do believe that my story it's authentic, it's just who I am, and what I found is it encourages other people. And truly, if I can do it, somebody else can too.
One of the things that we need to make sure is that we honor you guys in the fact that both of you guys are working together as a publisher and as somebody that can bring books out of folks and really create some destiny. I know you've got the bookbound.morepower.com on the screen. I hope that you'll take advantage of what they're offering today. This is Monetize Your Mind. I'm Pat Dewar. We'll be back in just a second.
You can become a published author. Discover a system that will lead you from idea to having your book on the bookshelves. Bob Baer pulls back the curtain at the More Power to Publish workshop. Watch and learn how to follow the step-by-step plan to turn your idea into a published book. Learn more at morepowertopublish.com.